I promise you, they are doing it every day right now.
Going back, you said about the person who had to pay 250 grand in taxes. So are you taxed on gambling in the US?
Yeah, so it depends on the state, and this is the problem. So he lives in a state where, let's say I bet $1,000 um, over the course of sort of many weeks. I bet $100 here, $100 there, but I end up losing $1,000. But I won over the course of those bets. I won a couple of those bets, right? So I won 150 here, 200 there. So in the state where he lives, those winnings, 150 here, 200 there, are counted as income, and he owes taxes on those income, even though the overall result of his betting was that he lost money. So, and he was betting in such a way that he was sort of betting on sure, on quote unquote sure things, which again, as a result, he only lost like $20,000 gambling, which wouldn't be enough. But he bet like a total over the course of a couple of years of like 1.2 million or something, and he owed income on a tax on $1.2 million, which all of a sudden becomes $250,000. So it really depends on the state, and he just happens to be unlucky and sort of fell into this rabbit hole of addiction in a state without realizing the tax implications that would manifest. You know, when you're betting, when you start betting, you don't think, oh, first of all, I'm going to get addicted to this. Second of all, oh, if I do get addicted, I better check the tax implications. It's impossible to have that kind of foresight.
So going back to what I said about bank accounts, then is that and ways in which you're controlling it, would one way be the IRS in the sense of, hang on, this person's owes us so much tax, like you do with any company, like we need to stop this
Right.
now, declare a bankruptcy in that respect?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it could be any number of things. I mean, I don't claim to be a sort of a banking expert or analyst,
Mm.
but I just think something needs to change. And the sort of point here being that, and this is, I have evidence of all these sort of sports books that have given presentations to this effect, that modern sports books have, for obvious reasons, more data on their customers and on gamblers than any gambling operation in human history, right? Just because of the fact that it's happening online. So they know, and there's a presentation from an executive at Fanatics sort of basically saying as much. They know within a week, even less than a week probably, of someone coming on their site if you have a gambling problem. They can figure it out in a heartbeat. The question is, okay, what are they doing with that information, and why aren't they using that information to cut people off or slow them down as fast as possible?
So you said, I asked you before, what would you like to see in regards to sports betting? Realistically, how do you think it will develop over the next 5, 6 years based on that Supreme Court decision?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the most likely outcome is that a cup. Oh God, now I don't even know. Now I was going to say, with the current state of sort of of Washington and American politics, it's sort of impossible to predict anything. It certainly seems okay. I'll start safe and get less safe. I think it certainly seems like there's going to be more attention and more conversation, sort of national conversation, political conversation about the prospect of regulation. Whether that means there will actually be regulation, I don't know. But certainly, I think there's going to be sort of at least another hearing, as there was at the end of 2024, about sports betting, about these multiple bills that are sort of floating around Congress about sports betting. But I don't know if the actual prospects for change are going to come from Congress, which doesn't do anything and never passes any laws that are like help people. Well, it feels that way sometimes. So I don't know if it's realistic to assume that they are going to pass anything federally. And if they don't, then it has to happen at the state level. But there's 38, 30, soon to be 39 different states with 39 different gambling laws. And so you'd have to go state by state to sort of make effective change. So I think probably the most realistic thing in the short term would be one state, a state like Massachusetts or Ohio, saying, hey, something's going on here. We need to sort of pull this back or make these changes. And maybe that will sort of domino effect, or maybe that would set the stage for something federal. But I think the most likely sort of short-term outcome is more attention to the issue and more discussion of the issue, not sort of imminent regulation of the product.